Welcome to a new Wabi Sabi story. Today, we have this Sotomaru Nomi, a Japanese carving gouge. I will have to separate the blade from the handle. As you can see, there are parts of the timber missing, a real bummer for the striking area. But before we decide its fate, we need to test the steel to check its quality. Sadly, I couldn't find any information on the maker of this blade, but if you have any knowledge on it, I would appreciate your comments below. The quality of this blade will force me to make a choice. Is this handle worth saving, or does this blade deserve a total rebirth? I have a collection of incredible Japanese tools, each waiting for its story to be told. And if you want to help me bring more of them to life, consider joining this channel. It's the best way to support my work. With our tool chosen, the journey begins. My first step in any restoration is a full assessment, and that means sketching it on paper to get an overall view of what needs to be done. In this case, that means taking it apart. We need to see the blade on its own to truly understand its condition and then address the handle issue later on. With the Nomi taken apart, we can see the tang. Sometimes you can find the maker's mark hidden in here, but this one keeps its secrets. The only way I know to judge its quality is to test the steel during sharpening. Before we jump onto that, I'm starting with a gentle cleaning. The goal isn't to raise its age, but to remove the active rust that is slowly eating away the metal. As the layers come off, the sole of the tool starts to reappear. You can begin to see a hint of the lamination line. This is a promising sign. But the final verdict always comes from the stones. It is difficult to voice out the importance of being in the moment to truly feel the steel on the stones. You can feel the consistency of the steel as you work the edge. It becomes a conversation between the craftsman and the stone. The feedback is not just visual but very tactile. My learning curve is still steep in sharpening on natural stones, but it's such a sensorial experience. You should try it too. This blade has a lot to say. With every pass on the finer stones, the feeling got better and better. The feedback was a bit confusing at times. The lamination is coming out more clearly, but the soft steel is a bit denser than I expected. I guess the final test will come when we carve some wood. We will have to see how special this blade feels when we put it back together. I feel now it demands a rebirth more than a conservative restoration. There is still a lot of steel in it, and the rust was just light. I thought of keeping the old handle, repairing the missing chunk of timber with a kintsugi-like fix as I did in my previous video. But this blade now needs a handle able to last for many years, and a repair of that kind in this instance creates a weak point. We have at hand a new wonderful problem, choosing the right material for the handle. I have these incredible timbers, Giji, figured gum tree, Osage orange, and Konka berry. The traditional choice for a high-quality Nomi is to use ebony. It would be a sturdy and beautiful choice, but in my experience, ebony can also be dry and brittle. A part of me wants to give this blade a handle so vibrant that its uniqueness is impossible to miss, but there is a conflict. Japanese chisel come from a very traditional heritage. After a lot of thought, I decided to take the risk. Based on the fact that also ebony is not a native Japanese tree, I feel allowed to push the boundaries, choosing Osage Orange to be the new handle for this project. The process starts on the lathe, turning the square block into a perfectly round cylinder and then shaping the tenon for the ferrule and the recess for the metal striking ring at the back. I am very new at using the lathe, but this timber is beautiful to work with. Everything is proceeding as you would for a traditional round handle. But then an idea. As I was turning the wood, I started thinking about the grip. Some of the European carving gouges I use often have faceted octagonal handles. I wonder if I could find a way to adapt this principle to an omi. When you think about it, Japanese knives has what is called a wa handle. With defined flat surfaces for your fingers, this gives you a much more positive grip and a better feel for the orientation of the cutting edge, especially when you're making precise rolling cuts. This is the unconventional handle I was thinking of. That's it. That's the handle this chisel deserves. So, the lathe work is done, but the real shaping now begins by hand. Each pass has to be precise to keep the octagon symmetrical. It's a slower process, but it's this kind of detail that will make the tool truly special. A perfect marriage between two different crafting traditions. Now that we have finished the main components, we are ready to marry them together. The old steel is now reborn. With all the pieces of its history that we were able to save, it is time to make them one. Finally, the blade finds its new home. Every strike sends a resonance through the tool. The new body is created from a fusion of ideas. The feeling of it coming to life in my hands is great. A connection so tight it feels as they were forged together from the very beginning. The octagonal grip sits in the hand with the confidence a round handle could not quite match. It is no longer just a tool, it's an extension of my hand, a bridge between Japanese traditions and the search of better ergonomics. But the final word belongs to the wood. The first cut tells the whole story. The edge glides through the fibers, leaving a smooth and shiny surface behind. The control is incredible. My hand knows exactly where the edge is pointing instinctively. This is it. This is the voice of a tool reborn, singing its new song. So, we took a risk. We stepped away from pure tradition to create something new. And I think the maker of this blade, whoever they were, would understand and feel proud of this piece. The lamination line tells a story of scarcity and skills from the experience of hundreds of years. This octagonal handle tells one of a modern craftsman searching for control and connection. Neither story cancels the other. They coexist, making the tool richer and more personal. It is a physical representation of the wabi-sabi philosophy. A story is not only told in the struggles and scars we wear, but in the discovery of thoughtful evolution and self-improvement. This journey from a rusty secret in a box to a perfectly tuned instrument is the reason I do this. If you enjoyed this story and want to be part of the next one, the best way to support my channel is by subscribing. Your support allows me to find more of these forgotten tools and give them a new voice. What do you think of this fusion of styles? And how does wabi-sabi affect your life? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I look forward to answer all of them. Thank you for joining me today and don't forget to watch my previous videos. Ciao e a presto!